our expert, all things products, research, education around that. So I'm going to get out of the way and let you go for it.
Sweet. Thank you, Adam. Thanks for jumping on, everybody. It's great to be here. I'm doing a bit of share co-hosting with Katie tonight. So, Kate, you feel free to jump in, and we're going to have a bit of a chat tonight about two of our amazing products. I'm calling it the color purple tonight. We are talking all things Perform and Berry. I want to know in the chat who's on Perform. I want a yes if you're on Perform. I want to see how many of you guys are taking this up. Oh, awesome. That's what I love to see. So as usual, you guys know me by now. I'm going to share screen, and I love giving you a visual as we're doing this training because I'm a visual learner. So I like to share a little bit of PowerPoint land with you all. So I am going to jump over here, and hopefully you can all see. Give me a thumbs up. All good? Yeah, good. Awesome. Okay. So as usual, I'm going to start with a little bit about our farm to capsule story, but tonight I wanted to focus on our farmers, because our very first point there is that we partner with family farmers. One thing I think you should remember about this amazing company is that we've had relationships with our farmers for 30 years. In fact, beyond 30 years, because we had to get into the discussions and the production before we actually went to market, right? One thing that I love about this is not only do we talk about the quality of our products, but let's just talk about the quality of our farms, because we don't get to have those relationships for as long as we have if we're not looking after our farmers and their families. So now I was talking to Lisa Pable the other day, and we were talking about this and about the fact that, you know, she gets to go to the farms, and I know that, you know, some of our Chicago attendees got to see a bit of our farms as well, which is amazing. But we're talking about how important the integrity around growing our produce and making sure it's really safe, not just for us and for our customers, but our farmers live on those properties. So, you know, we have to go right from the get-go to make sure that we establish beautiful relationships, and we're looking after the people that look after our crops that come into our amazing product range. So I wanted to touch on that tonight. So that's another little part of our story that you can share when you're talking to people about, you know, the longevity of this company and the integrity. So I just want to touch on that one on this slide. The rest of it, pretty sure you know, picked at the peak of ripeness, our quick freeze process, which of course means that when our produce is grown in season, as it is, and it's quick frozen, it means that we have got that produce that has been grown at the peak of ripeness at the right season, ready to go all through the year. So think about that too. It's not just the oranges are just over and over and over and over produced. They're produced when the season is right. We're quick freezing them so that we can use them for the rest of the year. I know that comes up a bit with people saying, well, shouldn't we be eating seasonally? Well, yeah, what we've got in our produce, in our products, is produce that was grown in season. So something for you to think about. So berry blend. All right, chop in the chat for me who's on berry blend. I want to see some Y's for berry blend. Great, good. Now, it's not rocket science. This is what's in our berry blend. Same way that all of our fruit and veg produce are grown, they're picked, they're quick frozen, and they're, you know, put into our capsules the same way. Most of you know what I'm talking about, which is great. I want to talk tonight about the sources of the vitamins that we've got. So our berry blend particularly is our source of vitamin C and E. So what do we need vitamin C for? Well, most people will say immune system. That's true because it's vital to our body's healing process, but it's also about our blood vessels and our cartilage, the muscle and the collagen in our bones. Okay, we need that vitamin C. And of course, vitamin E is coming from our berry blend as well. Awesome for vision, for reproduction, blood, brain, and skin. So we're going to wrap the bow around all of our amazing nutrients in both our products tonight, but I just want to do a refresher on what is in our berry blend. I'm going to jump over to Perform because, of course, that's the new kid on the block, still new, and hopefully most of you are familiar with this slide. Okay, it's our fact sheet on the hub. You can print that off. You can have it in your Flip Snack book, which I hope you guys are using. And of course, it's part of our product presentation. So you know most of this as well. You know that there's only 6 grams of sugar. You know that there's 25 grams of plant-based soy protein in every serve. And remembering the serve is 2 scoops. Okay, that's 2 of the scoops that come with Perform to make up that 40 grams to get the 25 grams. So if you're halving your dose, if you're only doing a 1 scoop, then remember you're getting 12.5 grams of protein, not the full 25. So that's something to keep in mind, because I know some of you like to stretch it out. So just remember that when you're only halving your dose, you're only getting half of that protein. So something to remember, because it's a little bit different to our scoop of complete, because we throw 1 scoop of complete in, you got to do 2 of your Perform. So just remember that. The other thing that I want to talk to you about our Perform is where these vitamins are coming from, and of course, you know, what we're doing with it. And guys, if you do have questions about anything that we're covering tonight, I would absolutely love you to pop those questions in our compliance and product chat. Hopefully you guys know where to get that. Katie, you might pop that in chat for us if you haven't already. I'm sure you did, all over it. And the reason I'm asking you to do it there is because everything that goes in that compliance chat, I'm pulling apart with the answers to help build up the wiki for you. So the questions that are frequently asked, all that information will end up in the wiki. So the more questions you've asked in the compliance and product chat, the more answers we can get and the more we can build that wiki for you. So questions go in there for me tonight. So around our performance-based Perform, which we love, B vitamins, we've talked about that. Keeping the mental focus, okay? And they come from our guavas, our mango, and our lemon extracts. The vitamin C, we've spoke about that, and that's come from acerola cherries. And the good thing about that, 38% of our RDIs, our recommended dietary intake for a healthy adult, for vitamin C, is in a serve of Perform. So if you're trying to boost up your vitamin C for collagen production, your connective tissue, and also obviously your body repair, then 38% of your RDI will come from 1 serve of your Perform. Vitamin D comes from our mushroom powders, and that's the same for our complete. That amazing blend of mushroom powders that are treated so well and looked after incredibly to make sure that's got the right amount of sunlight that's come in, to make sure that everything that has helped produce that vitamin D that is then going into our powders. And of course, that is for our muscles and our bones. And then of course, we know about all our products being gluten-free, dairy-free, and Perform, a little bit like our complete, good source of thiamine. So 27% of our RDI is there, 50% of the RDI for folate, and 23% of our RDI for iron. So remember, they are the recommended dietary intakes for a healthy adult. And of course, they are a little bit different for kids and a little bit different for our older pops, but that is based on the majority of the users, which are adults. So we're talking pretty much 19 and over for those RDIs. So that is where all those amazing vitamins and minerals are coming from. Now, I want to come back to the protein content, and I want you to have a look at this information here, because through the ages, our protein requirements change. And you'll hear me talk about Perform and teenagers a lot, because I'm really passionate about getting more protein, more good quality protein into our teenagers, because they're just not getting enough. So if you have a look at this, and I've got boys at the top of the list for a reason, our 14 to 18-year-old boys require 49 to 65 grams of protein a day, okay? And I can assure you, most of our teenagers are not getting that. They're getting a lot of their carbs, but they're not getting their protein. And if you're around boys in sport, you know, there's a lot of Gatorade and there's a lot of those recovery drinks that do not have any protein in it whatsoever. There's a lot of other stuff in there. That's a whole other conversation. But I want you to think about your teenagers and the people that you know with teenagers, because Perform is a great way. 25 grams, when they need, you know, between 50 and 65, they can get 25 grams from 1 serve of Perform, then yeah, that's a step. So then if we look at our adults, the girls still need a lot as well, the 35 to 45 grams for the same age group, but the boys need the most, okay, because this is when they're building their muscle. Then we look at the men, 19 to 70, they stay up at that 64 grams a day. So our men need the protein. Women drop down to 46 grams. But then look what happens when we're over 70. Who knows someone who's over 70? Anyone? Okay, our 70-year-old men need 81 grams of protein a day, and our 70-year-old plus women need 57 grams a day. Now, if you put that into perspective of, and let's just say, for example, this age group are in aged care, trying to get that amount of quality protein into our older pops, it's not easy, okay? And it's not really happening. So this is when we see a lot of, their muscles are starting to deteriorate, bones, everything's starting to come down the other side. Remembering that we have also got the mushroom powders in Perform, which is really great for their bones and for their collagen production. So put your thinking caps on, guys. Who do you know in that age group, the 70s and over, who's willing to go off and do some stands and expos for our older pops where we can talk about Perform and using Perform, because look, it's easy to make, okay? It's simple to make, and it's quite nutritious. And of course, we're building up that protein. So I really want you to have a think about who you know, and all those stats are available from Eat for Health, which you can look up at any time for any of the nutrition aspects that you're interested in knowing. Even if you want to look at how Perform or Complete compares for that population, if you're going to go and do something with that population, there's some great information on Eat for Health, our website. So here's another thing I want to talk to you about. Kate and I were talking about this the other day. Whey protein. Has anyone ever had anyone question about soy protein compared to whey? Anyone ever? I'm sure you have. So when we talk about these two different protein sources, obviously completely different. One is plant-based, one is animal-based. Whey protein being from the cows. There's a great study in 2020, and I've got the link there as well if you wanted to go on and dig into this study. But basically, they did a comparison of whey and soy protein. When it comes to the comparison, what they found was that leucine, which is one of the 9 essential amino acids, essential meaning we have to get it from our diet, we can't make it, and leucine is also a branch chain amino acid, which means it's essential for muscle building and repair. Okay, we need it. It's really, really important. And when they looked at this comparison, they found that there is absolutely no significant difference between a quality whey product, putting the emphasis there on quality because they're not all the same. A lot of them have got fillers in them, and soy, as long as the leucine consistency is around that 2 grams, okay, or 2000 milligrams. So an isolated whey protein, a very good quality isolated whey protein of 30 grams of that contains around that 1990 milligrams. 40 grams of Perform, so yes, 10 grams more, so we're using a little bit more, but that's giving us 2000 milligrams of leucine. Okay, so when we're talking about comparison, this is really what it comes down to. It's this one essential amino acid, branch chain amino acid, and of course, we're comparing plants to not plants. Okay, so these are 2 really important things to talk about or think about when we're talking about whey protein. I know you guys get a lot of questions about it. I know it comes up a lot. And on a nutritional level, this is the difference. It's this one essential amino acid. Both whey and soy, the soy that we use, have a Peter-Cass score of 1.0, which means that's the digestibility score, the protein digestibility score. Okay, so again, I'm talking about a quality whey. They're not all the same, but our soy in both Complete and Perform is consistent with having a good quality of leucine and also having that Peter-Cass score of 1. So that's a little bit of information about whey. Kate, did you have anything else you want to add about whey? Did you want to talk about that too?
I think this is just such an important conversation, Fee, because as you know, it's interesting. My eldest is now 15 and he's looking at the protein across everything, right? And just that element of bioavailability that so many people don't really think about. And it's just our body's ability and a lot of people are saying in the chat, whey's bloating, having really bad reaction to whey. So if you're having this conversation, with your partner or someone who's, focused on building the gains or, just, aging well and having that great muscle quality in their body, just knowing that they can have this beautiful protein from a plant-based source and that it's kind on our body and kind on the environment too. I just think it's awesome.
Yeah, 100%. And guys, if you do have isolated whey protein or a whey protein in your house that either you or your partner or someone's using, your teenager, go and have a look at the leucine, how much of that it's actually delivering. Because if it's not up around that 2000 milligram mark, it just doesn't compare to what we're offering with Perform. So that is what the main difference is. I mean, obviously there's other essential amino acids involved, but this is the most important, okay? And this is what the science is showing us, okay? So that's just a little bit to give you a little bit more information around that soy argument, because it comes up way too often as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, it does come up a lot. And as Kate says, it's easier on the gut. It's way easier on the gut. And then if we start talking about how whey affects women's hormones, that's a whole other conversation, because that can actually be quite, I know that we get that around soy as well. I know that we get that question around soy, but I'll dig out some research and I'll pop it in the page around whey versus soy when it comes to women's hormones as well, because that's a whole other argument. Now, guys, I'm not telling you all this so that you have to take it all on board and know this. This is not important for you to be able to repeat and deliver on demand. But it's just for you to get a bit more understanding and appreciation of what our product is actually offering you. Okay, know that this company has got you back. The development side of Perform was quite phenomenal, particularly the addition of the tart cherry and the beetroot. I think, as I've said many times before, to have a quality protein powder that is also helping you deal with delayed onset muscle soreness, you don't get that in one packet very often. So that's what I absolutely love about this process of Outperform. So let's just recap on the micronutrition, because I'm going to recap on both products together. So between Perform and Berry together, this is what's going on. We're getting our B1, 2, 3, 5, 6, and 9 for cellular functions, for assisting red blood cell production, lowering our LDL and increasing our HDL, so lowering our bad cholesterol, increasing the good cholesterol. That's what vitamin B's do. Vitamin C's, I've touched on that, your blood vessels, your cartilage, muscle, collagen in the bones, and helping the body's healing process. The vitamin D, muscles and bones. Vitamin E for vision, reproduction, blood, brain, and skin. Niacin, which is B3, for energy, metabolism, and DNA repair. Okay, so important. And of course, folate is B9, and that's for DNA synthesis or cell division. Okay, so we want healthy cells to divide. So this is where we need to make sure that we've got the folate. And of course, all of this comes wrapped up with a beautiful big bow with our programs, our Juice Plus Wellness programs, whatever your team is running, okay, living well, eating well, supplement well, all of this is part of our programs. So it's important to speak to our programs, because as you know, we can speak to that really compliantly when we talk to our programs.